HarperCollins presents 3 Weeks in Paris by Barbara Taylor Bradford, read by Liza Ross. Prologue. On the Rue Jacob, the man shivered and turned up the collar of his overcoat. It was a bitter February day, icy from the wind that swept down from the Russian steppes and across the plains of Europe to hit Paris with a sharp blast. The sky was a faded blue, the sun watery as it slanted across the rooftops, almost silvery in this cold northern light and without warmth. But Paris was always beautiful, whatever the weather. Even when it rained, it had a special quality all of its own. Spotting a cab, he hailed it, and as it slowed to a standstill, he got in quickly and asked the driver to take him to the post office. Once he was there, he unwrapped the package of stamped envelopes, 71 in all, and dropped them in small batches into a letter box, then returned to the cab. The man now gave the driver the address of the FedEx office, settled back against the seat, glancing out of the window from time to time. How happy he was to be back in the city of light. But nonetheless, he could not help wishing it were a little warmer today. There was a chill in his bones. In the FedEx office, the man filled in the appropriate labels and handed them over to the clerk, along with the white envelopes. All were processed for delivery within the next 24 hours. Their destinations, 4 cities in distant, far-flung corners of the world. Back in the taxi, he instructed the driver to take him to the Quai Voltaire. Once there, he alighted and headed towards one of his favorite bistros on the left bank. And as he walked, lost in his thoughts, he had no way of knowing that he had just set in motion a chain of events that would have far-reaching effects. Because of his actions, lives were about to be changed irrevocably, and so profoundly they would never be the same again. Part 1. Les Girls. Chapter 1. Alexandra. It was her favorite time of day, dusk, that in-between hour before night descended, when everything was softly muted, merging together, the twilight hour. Her Scottish nanny had called it the gloaming. She loved that name, it conjured up so much, and even when she was a little girl, she had looked forward to the late afternoon, that period just before supper. As she had walked home from school with her brother Tim, Nanny between them, tightly holding on to their hands, she had always felt a twinge of excitement, an expectancy, as if something special awaited her. This feeling had never changed. It had stayed with her over the years, and wherever she was in the world, dusk never failed to give her a distinct sense of anticipation. She stepped away from her drawing table and went across to the window of her downtown loft, peered out, looking towards the upper reaches of Manhattan. To Alexandra Gordon, the sky was absolutely perfect at this precise moment, its color a mixture of plum and violet, toned down by a hint of smoky gray bleeding into a faded pink. The colors of antiquity, reminiscent of Byzantium and Florence and ancient Greece, and the towers and spires and skyscrapers of this great modern metropolis were blurred, smudged into a sort of timelessness, seemed of no particular period at this moment, inchoate images cast against that almost violet sky. Alexandra smiled, for as far back as she could remember, she had believed that this time of day was magical. In the movie business, which she was occasionally a part of these days, dusk was actually called the magic hour. Wasn't it odd that she herself had named it that when she was only a child? Staring out across the skyline, fragments of her childhood came rushing back to her. For a moment, she fell down into her memories of the years spent growing up on the Upper East Side of this city, of a childhood filled with love and security,
Sample complete. Ready to continue?